My sons ask, who's cooking today? Not what are we eating anymore. And everything is changing around here. My two younger boys had a empty summer, so I signed them up for a virtual cooking class. They're based in Nigeria. And this is my full honest review about their session. Hi, I am Nene, and I help people become the person the goal requires. And everything that I share here is something that I have lived first, and then we get to talk about it. And just to put this out there, this is not sponsored. They don't even know that I'm doing this. I paid for the program and I will pay for it again. So let's just, I don't even know who this person. I found them. I was, doing my thing on Instagram, and the ad came up about cooking classes, wanting to figure out because I really want them to start developing skills. And my what's the word? We wanted them to just start having certain things. So we even signed them up for like a cartoon thing, and I can get to talk about that. But this was a virtual thing. I came across it. I was like, ooh, exciting, because my husband always said like, while you're cooking, let them just be around you, and then they can see what you're doing. And yeah, we tried that, or it just they're in and out. They're not really into it, and finding this, I'm like, okay, this is a structured way. At least they get to know the basics, or get to know like some meals, and then we would see how we can incorporate it, and with yeah, they can now start supporting and stuff like that. So what we signed up for the program, we paid the fee, and then it was because we're based in Nigeria, they gave us like some access bank situation to send the money to. I don't have access to it, so I was the one doing all those things, and my husband did, and it took a while to like send the thing. We finally got paid, put into this WhatsApp group with other people, as my kids don't have phones, right up to 16, they don't even have a handset, and when they do get to that age and they finish secondary school, they have to get their own. Anyway, that's another video. I've done talked about that before, but anyway, so the kids that have devices and the parents that we're all in this WhatsApp group together, and they now had this onboarding thing form they had to fill all this detailed, very like I was so impressed with like the whole thing. And with that, it would tell you all the tools that was going to be required, and all the meals and the list, and a curriculum based thing. So in regards to the payment, right? So when that didn't happen, we finally paid and did that onboarding, realized, okay, there's two kids, not one. It's like, okay, you have to pay for the two kids. And it's like, I get it. Like, it's a no-brainer. There's certain things that if you're, say it's an online virtual thing and you're just listening in, that's fine. I've been to other conferences where you pay the main thing, and then for every participant need like a participants pack so that you can have that thing, and I didn't have any issues with paying for the extra child, or paying. Unfortunately for us, there was a discount for the extra child, so paid. Fortunately, they was not able to now, because of the issue I had earlier with payment. There was a UK based account that I was able to then pay into, which then resolved that. And okay, and we had like a couple of a week or so to get everything ready, the prep, all the tools that's needed and everything to start the class. And yeah, got them both enrolled. So the class, we got everything in. I mean, I would have like doubled up on at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't want to start doubling up on every single thing. And my kitchen that is just not as, I don't know, like I have like my two other ones. I have tall people in my house. If most of us are in that space, we don't have storage space to be putting up double up of things. So certain things I was like, you know what? Scaling thing, we just need the one. You guys, we'll figure it out. It made things longer, but whatever it is, we did it that way. Um, so my two older boys, yeah, even though I think is age between 9 to 18 or 19, that can join a class. My first one's out of the picture, and the second one's doing all this stuff. So, but I was more particular with the younger ones, and it was going to be a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then a Saturday, then Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And in that WhatsApp group, there's about, I would say, about 40 people in there. So, and that's if they have double up kids as well, because we're not the only ones that had two kids in there. I think there was other two or three others in our cohort, and they had the morning classes and the evening classes. When I signed up for, I believe I was in the evening, but for some reason I was put into the morning. But anyway, but I don't know how it worked, but it's either you can't, we just stayed in the evening because it was just easier with my working and coming in to be able to like help them and everything. And yeah, so we had all those preps, filled out the onboarding form, got access to the learning platform that was used, and to join into the course, got to see like, because with the course how it works is you the first thing they did was to learn about um cooking, um just to have the safety, because the first class was just more introductory and just teaching them about the difference between mindset and cooking, about the preparation, about the different I made some notes so that I'm not like messing things up, about the people that those who had fear of cooking and they're just crushing it for them, like there's four stages preparation, and how like the presenting the food is like you're eating first with like how you see before you now actually put it in your mouth and everything, and about food safety, handling, and all those different things. And they like, so that in that first class they didn't actually cook anything, but they learned so much information about the general thing. They even asked them like if they've ever cooked before, what's their favorite thing to cook. And one of my kids have never made anything, whereas the other one in this food prep class in the different things, they have he has made like a couple of things that he's brought home. He's made like a what's it called? They made like a cookie. I'm not sure if they made like a muffin or like a bready dough thing, or meat, pizza and some apple crumble kind of like they various Englishy dishes. And whereas this is the Hereford, Harelfoods, I'm pronouncing it wrong. Harvard Academy. This is who we signed up for, found them, and just grateful that I did see them. And so they had that class. Asked my kids. He's like, I've never cooked before. He's like, okay, and they've never even prepped like that before. I mean, when I have made meat pie, they would help with the assembling, or when I have made this is the other one, not the younger one. When I've made a meat pie mixture, sorry, excuse me, a pancake mixture, then he would fry it. So that one had like some, you know, skills like when I've like boiled rice, I can check that it's done or switch off or timing, but not physically cooking at home. And yeah, so we had to, so after that first prep class and knowing, okay, the baseline of certain things, understanding the whole thing, we get to then prep the one day, or like, or prep just before, depending on the ingredients. And then we'll then, they'll start cooking. So with the first class, it was spaghetti jollof. And again, because we had already done another summer skill class, they did some like cartooning, they were not interested in that. I was thinking it was going to be a drag to get them fascinated and interested, and to get them into the thing. For this summer school, the menu and the things that they taught them that they learned are, they did spaghetti, jollof spaghetti, yam porridge, special pancake, egusi soup, meat pie and chapman drink, and Nigerian fried rice. And I was so impressed by that list to start off with. with the prep with the jollof rice, again, my kids are learning how to like measure. We're getting containers. Like I've not like I just go in. My way of cooking is do. I don't like measurement. They even measured salt. I'm like do. Food comes out nice, lovely. Here it's like we're using 500 grams of spaghetti to this to say 150 grams of tomato mixture, and this not like to the precise, like on point. And I was so impressed by how the system is. You go and watch how it's done on video, so you have an idea of what to expect. You look at the ingredients. You then prep your ingredients and display it. And once it's prepped, you take a picture and share it to the group. In hindsight, looking at the premise of why they want to see the prep is like sometimes if your prep is not properly done, like sometimes you just see someone who has, say, their time container but not measured out. Because when the classes come, it's like now put in this, now put in that, now put in this. Now you're not going to start measuring in that instance. Everything is laid out, and all you're doing is next, okay, wait for like this long, let it simmer, let it like don't let it burn, like all those. It's so that it flows. So I get why they would want to see the prep before so that everyone's ready, everyone's prepared. And then the day before, it's like get everything ready on the day. Obviously, the first lesson, there was a bit of a hiccup because people hadn't gotten the login details or it just wasn't, I don't know. I saw the thing like you would say, you know how you have like you log in and it's saying, is this thing safe to do? And you just have to kind of like advance and say safe anyway, and then you go into it. Whereas I think if you're using your phone, you don't see that message to move on. So I think there was someone who struggled coming in, and finally, eventually, they were able to come in and you watch the video, you get your prep things done, and then you come in class. So now you're again, you see that repetition of seeing it, and then you're doing to then take it moving forward. So my kids, having to, so I decided to have, so I have four burners, two small ones, one big one, and one, this is big as well. I don't like, or three small ones. So I just thought, okay, I'll put them in an angle of them using the same size burner flow so that at least it's equal and having one using a big burner and that. And I wanted them to be like the pots they use is kind of like similar so that again, the cooking like just to have an equal measured thing, not that one has more power or whatever over it. um they did the first one. My goodness, it was delicious. I even picked up some pointers of like how I would like, oh, this is a different way of doing it. They're based in Nigeria. They're like every for the start, before I even started, I was like, how is a virtual thing gonna work with kids and health and safety and cooking? Like I'm like, if you're not careful, like you could have, accident, whatever. But it was done so well. Like the first class was everybody together, introducing, talking, and then when we had the next class, which was on the Wednesday, after the initial, okay, this is the premise, this is what to look out for. We went into breakout rooms, and it was averaging in the classes we're averaging about 5 to 7 in to a tutor. So the tutor's camera is off, everybody else's camera is on, and you angle it in a way that she can see you and the cooking and what's going on. And it's better to be able to even see what's going on in the pot. So we used my laptop and I have like an external what's it called, webcam, which they can physically take up and then move to see. So it's an instant 360 and it kind of like follows as well because by move it moves as well. So that kind of like was a great thing for the kids. So again, it's finding to make sure that you have an angle where they can see you and the kids and like the prep area and the things that they're doing as well. So that again was something that was very like impressed by the whole thing. the encouragement, like, and then after the meal, you take a picture, present it well. One of my kids was like, "Yeah, let's try and like do this." The other one's like, "I mean, just put it on. It's fine." It's like just let's just go. And yeah, so the other one's like presented as well, like okay, like giving him ideas on how to present it. This one's like, you know what? I just like this is how I just wanted it. It's cool. Just put it there. So yeah, would leave you as you want yours, and you do you how you want. Like okay, you put your rice in here and put it on. You can add this thing, and the other guy's like, ah, no, just take the thing. So that was interesting on my part to see like one's like lay back and like one's like oh yeah let's try and make it as pretty as possible because they said there might be a prize and blah blah blah. Let's go that. So we had the spaghetti jollof was a hit that got them excited. It was quick. It was like the process of like just like boiling, like don't break up the spaghetti. Like that's kind of like one of my like yeah, and rinse it off, make it like get it cold, sing it out, and delicious. They even had like a secret ingredient there. I was like, ooh, now I can see why they added this because that just gave me that what I would have like how I would normally. I've never say I've done spaghetti jollof because I don't do that way. I tend to do more like a spaghetti sauce. You just boil the spaghetti and put in. But this is like something that I have personally learned myself and seen them. And the next ingredient was the yam porridge. And again, this is another variant of how to do the yam porridge, which was very interesting. And they had this again, another ingredient. I was thinking, oh, they had it like bongo fish, which was like they had to like blend or crush finely to like add to it, and that just took that to another. I think that was that for that one. Again, they're not really yam fans, and we made it, and the thing was, whatever we cooked is what we're eating for dinner. We're not There's nothing extra, and sometimes whatever's left over, we have it the next day. So after the yam porridge, we had egusi soup and prepping, doing the whole thing. Again, I wasn't home, but my older son was there and was able to just be there to support them. And again came back, tasted, and what will happen is before we take a picture, we'll get dad to come and like do a blind taste. Get brothers to like I've got two other boys to like taste it like I prefer this one I like this. So in between two of them there was this internal competition than the wider competition with the whole group and everything. So that was happening as well. So it's like, yeah, so this person I like, this one. So yeah, one next to one meal, one like so they're doing that internal thing for self. Egusi soup again came out. It was so delicious. Like I wanted variety because my thing was let's do it accordingly, like how it is said for them to do it, what they want them to do. We'll now take it from there. So now the excitement is building up for them. Now they're interested. It's like, okay, we get to prep. Some prep was taking forever because the first time I did all the because it was the first one. I chopped up the onions, I did everything and put it there. And the husband was like, "Isn't this cooking class that you're supposed to do this themselves?" So I'm thinking, this human, my younger one, hasn't. This is knife. How? So it's showing him hands like this, cut it up, do da. So he now said these cut the onions himself. He might be chunky, it might be in red, but they did the onions. Everything they prepped themselves. When they're making So after the egusi was now the thing they've been waiting for. This is when they now saw the list of the menu of all the things that they were going to learn. Meat pie was like, ooh, because with the meat pie, when I make it, they fill it up. They do all those extra bits. Like so they're like, oh, mommy, can we double up on the recipe? Can we like whatever? And I would normally help them prep the thing the night before, and then they're good to go. And any fresh thing we'll put in the fridge, or they will just do it before the class, depending on what it is. But the day, like my schedule and everything did not work out. And I was like, okay, guys, we need to prep the thing. And they've already decided that they wanted to double up the recipe. When I already said we'll just keep things accordingly, but they're like, oh no, it's meat pie. we want to like make more. Like, okay, so you guys need to prep this. So I wasn't there physically to like just supervise them prepping. Dad was in a meeting at the time at the class. Brother was, what did he say? He was like, he was doing something. So we just come in and check. So basically, nobody was overviewing and double checking. Like, it said 200 grams and you want to do 400, 400. This and making sure that you're like, they're doing it properly. Then the whole 9 yards, right? So I wasn't there. And when I'm not there, I'm like, guys, send me the picture so that I can then send it. Because my kids don't have phone. My older one, send this thing. It was just messed up to the very end. And when I came back, not only was the place a disaster, the whole kitchen of how exhausted. Apparently, they were there for like classes run for about 2 hours. Started at 5 o'clock. They weren't done till 8. And I appreciate these people so much. They stayed there till they were done, till they said we've done the last one. We have an oven, and didn't think that they would have asked the older brother, like, can you set this over? They decided they were going to use an air fryer instead to do the meat pie. And I again came back, I was like, what is this? I have a feeling that in their doubling of the measurement, they must have done one or two of the measurements not doubled. Because what came out, the pastry and all, if everything was according to how it's supposed to be, I bet it would have been delicious. But I have a feeling something was amiss in the equation. So coming back and tasting the meat pie, again putting in an air fryer and not allowing it to cook properly, displaying it as like, yeah. And it's like, it was, I don't know, it wasn't firm, it was sluggy, it was just came, showed me, I'm like, baby, these things are not cooked. We need to put this thing back into the oven. So I put this thing back in the oven. One kid's one was just about edible. The other one's just like, this pastry mix is just no. We get to chuck it away. So we chucked it away. And we like in hindsight, I was like, you know what, just stick to this thing. Once you've learned with this basic measurement they've had, yeah, that'll be my advice for anyone. Stick to the measurement and then do it that way. Or make sure that everything is you are either reducing it. Because I remember like with the next meal, like we had the fried rice, and I was like, okay, we're gonna stick to the. I think it was fried rice after that. No, it was a pancake. Ooh, the pancake again. It's not how I do mine. It it came out looking, even though it said Nigerian pancake, it reminded me of American pancake. How my American pancakes look and taste. It's not my thing. My kids love it, so the way and how to like again new skill for them how to crack an egg and separate it. So I got them, okay, this is a cracking bowl where we're not, so I didn't know that they're using both things. I thought it was just going to be the one thing, they just the egg yolk or whatever. So to crack the thing, messed it up. I said, okay, broken messed up egg, put it here, get another fresh one, pour it here, get another one, crack it, and then if it works, you need four, right? And then it was a mix up with, on the form it says 4 eggs, and I think they like, and we got to the point of it. Finally got the thing. It came out floppy, tasted. And one of my kids who were already helping with the cake, so his frying was great. The other one's like, he's almost jagged it, like whatever, but it tasted delicious. Even though the frying technique still needs working on and still needs improving, it came out tasting good and pouring and stuff like that. There'll still be a bit of hesitance, like on how to whatever. Because I was thinking there's gonna be like, what's the word? Forgotten the word I was gonna say. But yeah, so pancake was a hit. Even the older brother was like, "Ooh, this is delicious. How do you make it?" Like they're now telling the brother how it was done. And the brother now kind of like made his own, like made the version of the thing. And it worked. And then when the brother went to like do it himself, like it didn't like wasn't as fluffy or whatever, but it was just there. Well, yeah, so that's how the ripple effect like of the thing happening. And then after the pancake thing, so the pancake was before the egusi, and then the meat pie was where the disaster happened, and then it was the fried rice. Fried rice came in. I was like, okay. And it was like I was thinking, oh, let's just stick to the thing. But in hindsight now, with the two kids, I would have half the ingredients because we used 1 kg rice, but that was a lot. I mean, still sitting in the fridge right now. And fried rice is not something that I like to keep because of if you don't hold it properly, it can, I don't want no money. But that I would have if I have two kids next, like depending on that kind of stuff, I'll probably have it. Because it was jollof rice that you can stay longer, you can freeze it and stuff like that. But fried rice, I like to just the freshness. But the way they did this fried rice, although they said in the longer class they would teach the other method, this method I was like, oh, I like this. This came out and it was just even all like they were like, oh, we don't want more vegetables because they didn't ask for, so they had to have like the mixed vegetables. They used green beans, bell peppers. So I got a mixture of different colors, and then sweet corn, and what was the other thing we used? We used cabbage, and there was something else. So like instead of getting a frozen one, we just got those, chopped them up, got them to like prep it. My kids are using knives and cutting things up. Like I mean, with the when we're cutting up for the fried rice, the onions, the tears were coming in like, like yeah, baby, you need 200 grams. You have to make 200 grams of onions, chopped onions. Like, keep going. Let's go. When time was like, there was some crunch times in the prep. I just had to take over just to meet up because of like schedule long, but we made it work. And then I feel like with the rice, one of my kids didn't measure because time was going and it was like 1 kg rice and we're about to start the class. I measured for one and I looked at the rice that I had and looked at the one he had measured. I'm like, this one looks bigger than that. So when it was now time for cooking, and because the class was about to start, and we were like, so late to the prep on that one, it they now say, okay, put like 1200 ml of 1.2 or no 1.5 liter water. He put this in and this rice was buried in it. I was like, huh. He had measured the rice well. I was like, everything needs to be like properly done to really get that thing. And there was the frustration of like, oh, they're not responding of this, like not knowing. And we're from the eastern side, and the teacher and is from and based in the western side, and we have different ways of doing the cooking, right, or different ways in how we. But this was, I felt like was uniform. It will cover all regions, and then we add extra elements. There's different ways of even that I picked up that I'm going to be using moving forward in how I do my cooking. I was speaking to one of my friends who is multi whatever. She has so many hats on. She cooks and she whatever. Like for her to like show me how to do like some soups and stuff or whatever. But the hints and the stuff that I learned from here, I personally will be taking forward. They're going to be what's the word? Uh, doing this as they go on, because as this happening, the first couple of ones, the supervision was heavy, and then it just became a case of like just checking to make sure everything's fine because now they've gotten the system, they've got the hang of it. The For me now, it's a case now like, oh, when I come back home, it's like, okay, what we eating, what we having. It's more kind of like, oh, I feel this is gonna make a difference in like how we like go moving forward. So in all, like I would say it was great. It was a great experience for them. The confidence in the ability to understand about cooking, about the safety, prepping, not mixing meaty stuff, washing hands, doing all those things. Great concept like that. At least they got to learn that, and then I get to reinforce with them. The All the dishes they made was delicious. there was a bit of like one kid saw how much grams of salt they had to use and stuff. Was like, no, we're not doing that because they've had conversations where we've talked about how much like I don't put salt in my meal when I'm cooking. I tend to just let the seasoning do the thing. And with conversations we've had as a family in his head, it's like seeing how much salt we're gonna use for this is like, no, I'm not using that much. Whereas the other one's like, they said to use this much, psh, we're using that much, kind of like that. So over time, we would evolve and like make sure, but the basics of the thing is like, I would 100% recommend because even the idea of it being virtual, that how would that work? It works beautifully. You can tell that this is not their first rodeo. They've been doing this for time and how everything was just based, the reminders, the check-in, the politeness, and it just reminded me of everything. Like, yes, ma'am, like this, ma'am, like, oh my gosh, it's just like, yeah, we're cultured like that, and the respect. I feel like it was great with the amount of people that were there. Um, my thing was like there wasn't a way for the kids themselves to cheer each other on or to view that communal. Um, because I remember there was a incident when one of our tutors like they dropped off and that was the only time and then it took like a minute or so or 3 minutes tops for them to come back, but in that way they were just waiting for the thing they were doing to cook up, so it wasn't like it was going to affect what they were doing. But in that time the class was just quiet and I was like encouraging my kids like just ask them up and say how's their own doing and stuff like that or whatever. And they got the courage to like ask the question, but they got nothing back. I guess because the kids, I don't know you. Like, what am I gonna say to you? Like, or they might not be like expressive or whatever. But if there's a way we can find a way to commune and ask them to, or make each, and I know like sometimes time is not great, but if they can have the same group of kids in the same room, there's some kids, and I think for the most part, we had the same group of kids in the same um breakout room. They use Google Meet each time. So, but having a way to have that communal thing, because I know everyone's focused, but that would be like my one thing that I would say. Uh, my honest opinion is I would highly recommend this. It is if you want your kids to just build that skill so that wherever they are, they're able to just fend for themselves and having to rely on takeout, having to rely, especially like if they progress to go into like if they're going to uni, school, or work, or being on their own, they can just rustle up a meal. Most of these things, most of the meals that was made, it didn't take long. And as they were prepping, what I found is the prepping time it took as the classes went on was getting shorter and shorter because now they've gotten the hang of it. They now know what this looks like. They now know what this is. They now know where we keep this and stuff like that. So the prep was not as long as the first couple of days first couple of lessons that we had. And they were doing all this themselves. I was just kind of like double checking and making sure that towards the end that they kind of like had it down, giving enough time for the prep and making sure at least the first couple of one the adult is there, making sure letting them do everything themselves to the best of like just don't because in the beginning I think the first one I was like okay just checking and some of the preps that needs chopping or whatever I did, but moving forward they did the whole thing themselves. Um, so much so that we've decided to even carry on. We're now doing another 10 weeks thing of learning some more other delicious meals that would then benefit. And yeah, it will become a thing where who's cooking today? This weekend, you're doing this, you're doing that. And that's how it's going to roll because now they've learned the skill. It's not like, okay, we forgot it. No, come weekend, you are, or if it's a light meal or not light dish, we'll prep everything up. You're mixing up, you're cooking, and we're going. Yeah, another thing that we've kind of like learned is as we're cooking, we're just cleaning, getting the habit of like just so that just helped as well because and also they now appreciate like what I do, like standing, especially that meat pie thing was just so long for them, of just doing this, whatever. So yeah, It is, I think it's something that I personally am recommending to all my friends and family to like sign up. Next summer, I've told my siblings that look, people, sign your kids up for this because they would benefit. They also offer kids in abroad all over. The timing, like, it's very it's doable. And I feel the whole process, everything is professionally done. All the tutors, the way they are, like, you would think there'll be disaster, like something drastic would have happened in this last 2 weeks. Nothing there. Everyone had their own share, everyone had their own dynamics. Some siblings were cooking from the same pot, some siblings were having separate things. We decided to do separate. Some were like on their own, and you can see those who are like really into like really making sure it's presented beautifully, and those who's like, you know what, I'm showing you an empty plate because we forgot to, it was so good, we forgot to kind of like take the picture of the meal to take. So it is something that I would highly recommend for every parent who, like, I was gonna say struggle. Even if you can, even if your kids know how to cook or with you or does something, because of how structured and because of how the bigger picture than just not cooking the meal, it'll be something that will be great to do, to just kind of like learn. And it's a skill that once you use, you know it and you start using it, it's not something that you can forget, and it's something that would will take on. So yeah, what like for me, if your kids have ever gone through the school and everything like that, like what surprised you for in your child's learning, or if it's something that you wanted to like progress that skill, like how has that been for you and stuff like that? Let me know in the comment section. And if you haven't done so, subscribe because I do this every single day. And yeah, we all mindset based stuff and other fascinating thing. And also, as always, remember that your voice matters and it is your time to use it. Bye for now.